What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Sun and today's challenge will be can I beat Pokemon Sun Hardcore Nuzlocke using only flying type Pokemon. That's the challenge. It's just a mono type Hardcore Nuzlocke as well. That's not a generic challenge at all. And I really like the flying typing in general. Flying types are kind of underrated for some reason. I really like almost every flying type Pokemon. I just realized. Except Emolga. Not really a big fan of Emolga. I only thought of that because it's in the game technically, but we can't get it. Anyways, the rules of this challenge video will be on screen right now. Basically, it's a hardcore Nuzlocke. I can only catch the first shiny Pokemon that's a flying type in each route. Obviously, they're going to overlap and it's going to be kind of annoying, whatever. Basic rules of the hardcore Nuzlocke and also my own rule on each of my challenge videos. Each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thanks so much for leaving a comment in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon in my future challenge video, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. So flying type only shiny Pokemon. So it's going to be a little difficult, because unfortunately I forgot last time that owls are kind of Halloweeny. Also, Decidueye turns into a ghost type Pokemon, so this time I didn't forget. So I'm gonna shiny hunt for a Rowlet. Since it's technically a grass and flying type Pokemon, we just can't evolve it into a Decidueye. I don't like shiny hunting in Sun and Moon because the cutscene takes forever to watch. It is the biggest problem in Sun and Moon, honestly. The starter shiny hunting, that's the biggest thing. Unfortunately though, you can't even tell at the start of it. You have to wait until you can nickname your starter to even check if it's shiny or not. And lucky enough, we found ourselves a shiny Rowlet after a couple hours. Decent shiny Pokemon, we just can't fully evolve it. Next up, once we finally get through the first part of the game, we're gonna have access into Pokeballs, and really early already, we head into Route 1, we're able to shiny hunt for our second Pokemon. There's multiple options we can have, which I really want to avoid all the options besides Piplup. Piplup is the regional bird of this region, and I want that over Ladybug and Caterpie. And luckily enough, we found ourselves a shiny Piplup. We take that. We're gonna add it to our team, which is really nice, and we're gonna actually evolve it into a Trumbeak before the first trial of the game. Now, once we head into the first trial of the game, the first trial is going to be facing off against this Gumshoos. It's a normal type trial, which is super annoying, but lucky enough, Trumbeak actually has a move that it learns, which is Rock Smash. I've never said thank God for Rock Smash. Actually, I said it a couple times, but Rock Smash actually saved me here and knocks out the Gumshoos for me. Accidentally knock out the Young Goose, but we do knock out the Gumshoos in 3 turns. We end up completing the first trial. I actually switch into my Rowlet so my Trumbeak doesn't get too much XP, so it goes over the level cap, and I was able to avoid it. And then from there, we're gonna get taught the Z move. Unfortunately, that's not allowed in my challenge video, so we can't even use it, but we can actually move on into this route of the game where we're able to encounter our next flying type Pokemon. In this situation, it's actually 2 Pokemon that we can get, but really want one or the other. I really want a Rufflet over here, but you can mostly get Spearow. Spearow is more common, I believe. And actually, we actually encounter ourselves a shiny Spearow, which we don't want, but it's actually more practical if you think about it, because Rufflet evolves at like 50, so it doesn't make sense if I got myself a Rufflet. It makes more sense to get a Spearow because it evolves pretty early. And then from there, we could face off against Hollow next. Hollow's gonna be the fighting type Kahuna of the game, and we're gonna start the battle off against him using my Spearow. Unfortunately, my Rowlet gets past the level cap before this battle, so I can't actually use him in this fight. But it's gonna be fine as I'm able to Air Lace into the Mankey twice to knock him out using my Spearow. And then he sends out his Makuhita next. I'm gonna switch out into my Trumbeak because I know it's gonna fake me out. I can just go for 2 packs to knock him out, but this comes at a price though, because that means I'm on low HP as he sends out his next Pokemon, which is going to be a Crabrawler, and it always goes for a Z move fighting. So I have to switch out into my Spearow, just hope I can take a Z move from this thing, and obviously not. I can't take a Z move, so Spearow goes down, and I lost my first Pokemon of the game, so that's kind of unfortunate. I couldn't use anyone else. Maybe if I could have used my Rowlet, I would be able to knock him out without losing a single Pokemon, but unfortunately, my Rufflet actually went over the level cap, but I am able to peck him twice to knock him out. We already got a death on the death counter to begin our challenge, which is kind of unfortunate. So, unfortunately, we lose our Spearow. I was kind of excited to use Fearow in Sun and Moon, but guess those plans change. As next up, we're going to sail into Akala Island. Akala Island is going to be pretty interesting for us. We're going to firstly start by going into the first trial here, which is going to be the water trial. We're going to start the battle off against this Wishy-Washy using my Trumbeak. Now, I do have a grass type. I just want to lower his defense as much as I can, and then I can switch out into my second form of Rufflet, which is Dartrix. Yeah, Dartrix, right? something like that. Dartrix is able to Razor's Leaf, almost knocks out both the Wishy-Washis in front of me. I am able to go for multiple Razor Leafs, and eventually, he calls in a Lomomola. I don't think I've ever seen this before. He always calls in a Wishy-Washi, I swear, but I am able to Razor Leaf everything down and end up beating the first trial on Akala. I get the Water Z Crystal and then head back into the Brooklyn Hills where the trial is. You're able to find multiple flying type Pokemon in here. You're able to find yourselves a Wingull, and also the one we're actually shiny hunting for. You're able to find ourselves a Surskit. Surskit by itself isn't technically a flying type Pokemon, but once you catch it and it evolves pretty quickly, we're able to evolve it into a Masquerain, which is a bug and flying type Pokemon. So we're able to have it on our team, and then we can move out into Route 7, and then in the water here, you're able to find yourselves a Wingull. I tricked it in a way where I caught Surskit in Brooklyn Hill and then came to Route 7 to get the Wingull. Wingull's easier to find than Surskit because Surskit only spawns in the Brooklyn Hills, and outside of Melee Garden, we can't get Masquerain outside of that. So in Route 7, even though the spawns are very, very low in Route 7 for some reason, we're able to find ourselves a shiny Wingull and add it to our team. But that doesn't end our shiny hunting session as we head into the volcanic peak and find ourselves a shiny Fletchling, which is going to add it to our team. I wasn't planning to use him, but we need a lot more Pokemon for our team because the next few trials are going to be pretty difficult. Actually, a lot of the trials are going to be difficult using only flying type Pokemon. So we're going to start off against the fire trial using my Masquerain, as I got the TM for Scald as well in the Brooklyn Hills. So I'm able to one-shot all the fire type Pokemon and get myself close to 25. I'm not too sure if I hit 25 before the actual totem fight. Oh, I do get to 25 before the totem fight, which allows me to basically two-shot down the Salazzle even through the boost. So I'm able to go for a Scald. I forgot that Masquerain's not even a water type Pokemon, but luckily enough it does learn Scald, and I'm able to two-shot down the Salazzle. And then from there, it's only against the Salandit. Now, I have to switch out since I'm about to die to the Salandit. But I switch out to my Trumbeak against the Salandit. I'm able to one-shot it, complete the next trial of the game, and get the Fire Z Crystal, and move on and face off against the Grass, and complete the final Elemental Trio, Crystal Trials, whatever. And we're going to face off against the Grass Trial, which is going to be the Lurantis Totem. I can start the battle off against it using my Masquerain to air cutter into it, and multiple air cutters will actually 2 air cutters will knock him out. It just keeps synthesizing, so unfortunately I am unable to knock him out. Eventually, after 5 different turns, I'm finally able to make him stop synthesizing, but he has a Trumbeak out as well, and it does a lot of damage to me. I switch out into my Dartrix against him. He goes for a Pluck against my Dartrix, and I'm hoping he does not hurt me. I'm hoping the Trumbeak goes for like a Confuse Ray or something it doesn't have to hit me. As I go for my Dartrix, it knocks out the Lurantis for me, but unfortunately the Dartrix goes down to the Pluck from the Trumbeak. I send up my own Trumbeak to knock him out, but it's too late as I lose my Dartrix and I lose a second Pokemon. At the very least, I evolved my Wingull into a Pelipper, which will be pretty useful going forwards, but unfortunately put another death on the death counter, which I forgot to do. Just pretend there is a second death, please. I'll remember eventually. Next up, we're going to face off against the next Kahuna in the game. We're going to face off against Olivia. Olivia's going to start the battle off against us using a Nose Pass, which I go for a Scald, which I start the battle off against her using my Masquerain to Scald into her Nose Pass, looking for the burn. Got the burn at the very least, and then I'm able to survive a Rock Slide against him, and then I can switch out into my Pelipper, take a little bit of damage, but I want to set up the rain for myself, and I'm able to Scald to knock out the Nose Pass. And since Pelipper has Protect, this is the reason I switch into him. I'm able to Protect as he goes for a Content and a Crush against me. It does a lot of damage still for a Protect move, so I'm really scared that it's going to knock me out, but lucky enough, the Rock Throw does not knock me out as I'm able to survive. Use one of my Citrus Berries to get some more HP, Scald to knock out the Lycanroc, and our final Pokemon will be a Boldore. I can't really switch out here because this thing does have a rock move and it could pretty much knock out everything on my team, and it also has Sturdy. So I have to go for a Scald, hoping for the burn, and lucky enough I got the burn on him as he goes for a Rock Blast. Only hits me 3 times, and I'm able to beat Olivia, the Rock type Kahuna of the game, without losing a single Pokemon. But somehow I lost a Pokemon to the Grass Trial. Anyways, from there though, our team has been depleted pretty much to its core, so we have to go out and start fishing for a new Pokemon. You can see where this is going. We're gonna go out to Route 8 and shiny hunt for a Magikarp, and then once we get it, we're gonna evolve it into a Gyarados, which is gonna be another water and flying type Pokemon, but we need them. From there, we also go back all the way back into Melee Island and go into these yellow bushes. You're able to find yourselves some Oricorios, which are going to be electric and flying. I wanted to avoid this because I thought it was going to be useless, but honestly, I had no choice here. Everything else is kind of garbage in my opinion, so we have to get the electric type Oricorio, and it actually come in handy later on. From there, we're going to move out and face off against the electric trial in the game. Now, the reason I chose Oricorio is because it doesn't resist, but it's neutral. So it's a flying type that's neutral to electric moves, and I'm able to do a lot of damage to the Vikavolt at the very least. However, though, the Charger Bug and Vikavolt combination does too much damage to my poor Oricorio, so I have to switch out into my Masquerain to lower the attack stat of the Vikavolt. Unfortunately, it gets hit twice, so it's down to 1 HP. And I switch out to my Toucannon, it also gets hit twice and gets paralyzed by the Charger Bug and the Vikavolt. So at this point, I don't have many options. I could switch out into my Gyarados to intimidate him, but I decided to go out into my Fletchinder. Unfortunately, it goes down to 2 Sparks, and that was just bad play. Maybe I should have risked Gyarados, but I wasn't sure about that. I got out of Gyarados now. I'm able to Aqua Tail and knock out the Vikavolt, and from there, I'm also able to knock out the Charger Bug as well. And there goes the electric trial, but unfortunately I do lose another Pokemon, so we have 3 deaths on a death counter. From there though, we're gonna move out into the hardest trial in my opinion. We're gonna face off against the Mimikyu. Now I actually have a plan for this Mimikyu for once. I'm gonna start the battle off against the total Mimikyu using my Masquerain to intimidate it down and then break its disguise for sure. Switch out into my Gyarados immediately after to lower his attack stat once again, and then from there I could gauge the damage from him, and I do a lot of damage to him as the Mimikyu is unable to do too much damage from me. I switch back into my Masquerain once my Gyarados falls asleep, and I'm able to eventually knock out the Mimikyu using my Toucannon. And then the last Pokemon left standing is going to be the Haunter, which I'm able to Drill Peck and knock out as well. And that's probably the easiest way I've ever beaten the Mimikyu trial. From there, we're going to move out and face off against Guzma next. Guzma is a really simple fight. We'll also go out and face off against Nanu next. Nanu is going to be the dark type kahuna of the game. We're going to start the battle off against Nanu using my Pelipper to Scald into the Sableye. And it does a lot of damage. Unfortunately, it does a lot of damage back using Power Gem, but I'm able to roost off the damage and eventually knock out the Sableye. His next Pokemon is going to be the Persian, which I take 1 Power Gem, I'm able to burn it, and then I'm going to switch out into my Gyarados against him, take a Power Gem from him as well, but I'm able to knock him out using an Aqua Tail, and his final Pokemon is going to be a Crocorock, which I don't know if he had a rock move, I forget, but I switch out to my Masquerain to lower his attack stat, and then unfortunately I hit myself in confusion as he swaggers me. I go out to my Toucannon. Toucannon hits himself in confusion as well, and I can't use him. But from there, I can switch out to my Gyarados to lower his attack stat once again, survive a crunch at the very least, switch out to my Oricorio, and lucky enough, it's able to Air Slash into the Crocorock, break through the confusion to knock him out. Lucky enough, that came very close for no reason, as we were able to beat down Nanu and then move on into the Aether Paradise, where it's going to be more of an easy battle as we're able to clear through all the grunts in here. I mean, it's nothing too bad. We also beat down Guzma and Lusamine. We got a brand new move on our Gyarados, which is going to be Dragon Dance, and Dragon Dance might be the most broken move. As you can see, we sweep through Lusamine super easily, and we clear through them. And from there, we're going to move out and face off against the next kahuna in the game. We're going to face off against Hapu next. Hapu is the final kahuna, final island grand trial. As we face off against her, we're start the battle off against her using my Gyarados to Dragon Dance right in front of her Dugtrio. I'm going to get 2 Dragon Dance up. I'm greedy. Oh, I lied. I go for an Aqua Tail because I was scared. Aqua Tail to knock out the Dugtrio. She switched out to her Flygon, which I'm able to Ice Fang to knock out. Her next Pokemon is going to be a Gastrodon, which I'm able to crunch pretty much down, and I'm able to knock him out super easily. Her final Pokemon will be a Mudstail. I don't want to stay in. I could switch out into my Masquerain to pretty much absorb all her moves and then Scald twice to knock her out, and we end up beating Hapu, which is pretty much the easiest kahuna, I think. Since we're in the vast Pony Canyon, it's actually a new route for us to encounter a new Pokemon. I've been saving the slot for a very special Pokemon. It's going to be a Murkrow or a Skarmory, but we actually found ourselves a shiny Murkrow, which, thinking back to it, I think Skarmory would have been more useful. I mean, kind of a spoiler, but Skarmory would have been more useful. So we're going to catch ourselves a Murkrow, which takes a long time to catch for no reason. But from there, we're going to head into the final island trial in the game. We're going to start the battle off against this Totem Como using my Toucannon. Lucky enough, it doesn't call and help for the Scizor, because that would have been more annoying, as I'm able to Drill Peck into the Como, switch out into my Gyarados to lower its attack stat, and from there, I'm pretty much, the battle's pretty much done. I don't know why it's lower levels than the actual kahuna in the island, but I am eventually able to knock him out. I mean, he's knocking out my Gyarados too. Never mind. Eventually, I'll knock him out, right? Masquerain will be able to knock out the Como, and I could live any attack from the Hackmo to knock him out, and we end up beating the trial. And then from there, we're going to face off against Lucamine in the weird portal where the Naya Legos are. And she's going to merge into all that nonsense. I'm going to start the battle off against her using my Gyarados to Dragon Dance right in front of her Clefable as she gets 2 Iron Defense back to back, which is so annoying. But we're able to knock out the Clefable. The Mismagius comes out. I always thought it goes for Pain Split no matter whatever it does. It does not. It goes for Power Gem. It has Power Gem. And I go for Dragon Dance in front of her, which is super scary. I don't know why I did that. But I thought it always goes for Pain Split, so I'm able to crunch to knock him out. But it scared me, almost knocks me out. From there, the Lilligant comes out. I'm going to risk it. I'm going to go for an Ice Fang to knock him out. But then she switched out to her Beware, and I got to switch out to my Masquerain. But Masquerain will finish up, knock out Lucamine for me, as I'm able to beat her without losing a single Pokemon. And then from there, we can move out and face off against our rival, Nuzlocke. And then clear through our rivals pretty easily, and then head into the Elite Four next. The Elite Four is going to be pretty difficult. We're going to start our Elite Four challenge a little easy by rematching Hala. Hala is going to be the fighting type Elite Four member of the game. We're going to start the battle off against him. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Masquerain. Masquerain has a new move in his arsenal. It's going to have Quiver Dance. We're able to Quiver Dance twice in front of him as he goes for close combat. I thought he's trying to bait me into using like Rock Slide or something, but I get 2 Quiver Dances up. I'm able to Air Slash, knock out the Hariyama. And the battle is basically over as I'm able to Air Slash, also knock out the Crabominal. That's what it gets for knocking out my first Pokemon, Spearow. We're also able to knock out the Primate and also the Bearer and the Poliwrath, and we end up beating Hala without losing a single Pokemon super easily. Now comes the hard part. We rematch against Olivia. Olivia again is going to be the Rock type Kahuna and the Elite Four member of the game. We're going to start the battle off against her Relicanth using my Oricorio, which I was surprised Revelation Dance actually one-shots it to knock him out. I was not sure. I was not confident in that at all. She immediately switched out to her Lycanroc next, which I know is going to be an issue. I decided to go out and sack, unfortunately, my Honchkrow. I couldn't do anything about it. It had to be done. I know it's going to go for a Z-Rock move. I can't stop him. Maybe I could have gone to my Gyarados, but then how would I attack him? He would have just went for Stone Edges against me. I go for a Dragon Dance against the Lycanroc to make sure my Aquatail knocks him out. Aquatail does knock out the Lycanroc, which is nice. And unfortunately, she switches out to her Golem next, which, well, I gotta go into my Oricorio. My Oricorio was able to actually stall out the Golem, do a lot of damage to force him to heal up, which is unfortunate for him. But I'm able to force her out into her Probopass, which sets up Sandstorm, which I'm able to erase it using my Drizzle, and eventually stall him out using my Pelipper, which is super annoying. Unfortunately, he actually ends up 1v1ing me. Start to switch out into my Toucannon. Toucannon's going to try to live against him. It's not going to work. Power Gem is going to end up knocking me out, which is kind of unfortunate. So I lose a second Pokemon already. So from there, I switch out into my Masquerain next. Masquerain is going to Quiver Dance in front of him. I'm able to Scald into him, 2-shot him, lucky enough. Scald will knock out the Probopass, which is super nice. Her next Pokemon is going to be a Carbink, which I'm at this point, I have to switch out into my Gyarados. Hope I live a Power Gem. Lucky enough, I do. And then I have to switch back out into my Oricorio and take a Power Gem again. I'm able to survive another one, which is why I went for a Revelation Dance. I go for a few more roosts in front of it. Eventually, I am able to chip away at it and eventually knock out the Carbink somehow. And then her final Pokemon will be that pesky Golem. It's at 2/3 of his HP. I roost up. It's going to go for, again, a Thunder Punch. It's going to be very annoying. I should have went for 3 Revelation Dance, but I got greedy. I really wanted to see if I got a flinch with Air Slash, but unfortunately, it does not get a flinch. And unfortunately, I will go down as I live just barely with the Thunder Punch, and Revelation Dance does not knock him out. I lose Oricorio as well, and now I'm down to 3 Pokemon. So I switch out into my Gyarados. At the very least, Gyarados' crunch is 100% accuracy, and I knock out the Golem. We end up beating Olivia, but we lose half our team to just that. What an embarrassing fight. From there, we're going to face off against the Ghost Elite Four member of the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Gyarados. Lucky enough, the Sableye does not have Will-O-Wisp. It does have a very annoying move in Confuse Ray, but I'm a Dragon Dance right in front of her, and she's going to Confuse Ray me. I got to play the odds here. I just got to go for it. Aquatail. Lucky enough, I break through the confusion. I'm able to Aquatail and knock out the Sableye. Crunch, break through the confusion to knock out the Frostlass. The Delmice, I snapped out of confusion. I'm able to 2-shot him, and I go for a Dragon Dance right in front of him as he heals up. Free setup as I'm able to Crunch, knock out the Delmice, which is nice. The Palossand comes out next. Aquatail will knock out the Palossand in one shot, and the Drifloon comes out as a final Pokemon, and a Crunch will knock her and send me to the final Elite Four member before the champion. Final Elite Four member will be Kahili, and ironically, she's also a flying type user, so we're going to start the battle off against her using my Gyarados. Fortunately, half my team is dead, so I'm going to start Dragon Dancing in front of her as she goes for an Air Lace, which is fine. She then sets up spikes, which I don't think is the best move since all my Pokemon are flying. But I'm able to Dragon Dance in front of her. Oh, she doesn't set up Spike. What? She just kept going for slashes. Aqua Tail will knock out the Skarmory as she's going to switch out into her Mana Blast next. I go for an Ice Fang, which I know will not one-shot it, but will two-shot it as I'm able to knock out the Mana Blast at the very least. Toucannon comes on next. Ice Fang will knock him out, and then the Oricoil will go down to Aqua Tail. Don't want to risk anything. I think that was a bad play. I think I could have missed Aqua Tail. But anyways, I needed to knock him out anyways. And Ice Fang would knock out the Crobat as I'm able to beat Kahili super easily. Okay, the battle's over. From there, we gotta face off against the champion of the game. We gotta face off against Professor Kukui. Professor Kukui is gonna start the battle off against us with always a Lycanroc. So I'm kind of nervous about this fight. So we're gonna start the battle off against Professor Kukui using my Gyarados, which I lower his attack stat, so hopefully he doesn't go for a Stone Edge. He doesn't go for it actually. He goes for a Stealth Rocks. I'm able to Dragon Dance in front of him. I go for a second Dragon Dance, and then from there I can actually activate the Citrus Berry, get my HP back, and put me out of range of a Cell Rock. Luckily, I'm able to Aqua Tail, knock out the Lycanroc. He then switches out to his Magnet Zone, and I decided to go for a tricky play. Ice Fang has 2 secondary effects that it could do. It could freeze and also flinch. I go for the flinch. I went for Ice Fang flinch. It worked against the Magnet Zone. That's the only time I've ever seen it work. And I go for an Aqua Tail against him. It does not knock him out. Karma bites me back, and he goes for a healing item against me. I'm like, what in the world is this? Lucky enough, I am able to still knock him out with a Crunch and an Aqua Tail, but I'm paralyzed at this point. I go for an Aqua Tail because I know he's going to go for a Whirlwind. And lucky enough, it worked out as I'm able to knock out the Braviary. And his next Pokemon is going to be Incineroar. I still outspeed him. Aqua Tail to knock out the Incineroar. How is this possible? Gyarados is such a broken Pokemon. I don't know why I did this. I went for a Crunch against the Ninetales. And then I go for... Oh, I think I ran out of Aqua Tails. I ran out of Aqua Tail PPs. So I have to go for Crunches. But the first Crunch lowers the defense. I'm able to two-shot the Ninetales. Down goes Professor Kukui's entire team. His final Pokemon will be a Snorlax. I get a Crunch crit on him. Unfortunately though, I get paralyzed and I'm unable to beat the Snorlax with my Gyarados, so I can't 6-0 him, sweep him just with my Gyarados. I switch out into my Masquerain next to lower his attack stat, and from there I go for an Air Slash looking for a flinch. He's gonna heal up after this turn. I also get paralyzed and unfortunately my Masquerain goes down. So now it's a 1v1 Pelipper versus Snorlax. Snorlax survives our Hurricane, does not get me paralyzed though, which is lucky. I'm able to Hydro Pump into him, do a lot of damage, but I need to go for a Scald right now. Lucky enough, I do get a Scald Burn, but once I get him down to lower HP, he heals up immediately. For sure, that's his last healing item, as I'm able to knock him down to lower HP, recover using Roost, and eventually I'm able to 1v1 the Snorlax, and knock out the Snorlax, finish off what Gyarados did for me. And we end the challenge off with 8 deaths. I didn't update it, but we did end off the challenge with 8 deaths, and unfortunately that was a lot of death in this hardcore Nuzlocke, but that was pretty fun to do. I'm not gonna lie, I love the flying type. I love the flying type Pokemon we use. Gyarados, who really came in clutch and started sweeping everything with Dragon Dance, which I know feels a little cheap, but I needed to do it as I was about to lose. I'm not gonna lie. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me. And my name's been Alpha. I'll see you guys on the next video. Hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace. Oh yeah, watch my YouTube shorts. Watch them. They're really good.